Everyone called Liam cold. His colleagues whispered it in the hallways. His in-laws said it with thinly veiled smiles at family gatherings. Even his wife, Clara, had thrown the word at him during their last fight. "You're a block of ice, Liam. You have no passion, no fire." He never argued. He just looked at her with those calm, steady eyes that seemed to see right through everything, and nothing at all. He knew what they didn't. He knew that his calm wasn't coldness. It was control. It was the only thing holding the dam together, keeping the flood of chaos at bay. It started subtly. Clara began working late, her phone always face down on the nightstand. There were girls' nights that he wasn't invited to, and new expensive clothes she claimed she bought on sale. Liam noticed it all. He wasn't a fool. He was an observer, a man who paid attention to the details others missed. He saw the flicker of guilt in her eyes when she kissed him goodbye, the way she jumped when her phone buzzed with a message from Jessica from accounting. He saw the slow, painful erosion of their 8-year marriage. One evening he came home early, a bouquet of her favorite lilies in hand, planning a surprise dinner. He found the house empty, but her car was in the driveway. A knot tightened in his stomach. He walked upstairs to their bedroom and saw it. Her laptop was open on the bed, a chat window still active. The messages were not from Jessica. They were from a man named Mark, filled with a passion and intimacy that had long vanished from his own marriage. He read every word, each one a small, sharp blade twisting in his gut. The late nights, the work trips, it was all there, a detailed chronicle of her betrayal. He didn't smash the laptop. He didn't scream or throw things. He carefully closed the lid, placed the lilies in a vase on the kitchen counter, and sat down in his favorite armchair in the living room. He sat there in the growing darkness, the silence of the house pressing in on him. He wasn't cold. He was numb. He was processing, analyzing, calculating the cost of what he had just lost. He was thinking about the promises they made, the future they had planned, and how it had all turned to dust. When Clara finally tiptoed in hours later, reeking of a man's cologne he didn't recognize, she froze when she saw him sitting there. "Liam, you scared me. I didn't know you were home." He didn't raise his voice. He just looked at her, his face an unreadable mask. "We need to talk, Clara." The confession came tumbling out, a messy mixture of tears, excuses, and justifications. He listened to it all without interruption. She said he was distant, that he didn't appreciate her, that Mark made her feel alive. She expected him to yell, to cry, to beg. She expected a storm. Instead, she got silence. "Are you even listening?" she finally sobbed, frustrated by his lack of reaction. "Don't you have anything to say? Aren't you angry?" He finally spoke, his voice low and even. "I am, Clara. I am angry. I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. But shouting won't change what you did. It won't unsend those messages. It won't erase the last 6 months." He stood up. "I'm going to stay at a hotel tonight. I'll have my lawyer contact you tomorrow to discuss the divorce." Clara was stunned into silence. "Divorce? Just like that? You're not even going to fight for us?" "Fight for what?" he asked, a flicker of something raw and painful finally showing in his eyes. "This? There's nothing left to fight for, Clara. You made sure of that." That was the last time they spoke in their home. The next few months were a blur of legal paperwork and dividing assets. Friends and family were shocked. They all blamed Liam's coldness. "He just gave up so easily," his mother-in-law lamented. "He never loved her." Clara, clinging to her narrative, told everyone he was an unfeeling robot who couldn't handle a real woman's needs. Liam let them talk. He didn't defend himself. He didn't need to. He was busy rebuilding. Staying strong wasn't an absence of feeling. It was a monumental effort. It was waking up in a sterile hotel room and forcing himself to get out of bed. It was going to the gym and pushing his body to its limits until the emotional pain was drowned out by physical exhaustion. It was pouring all his energy into his work, not as a distraction, but as a reaffirmation of his own competence and worth. It was meditating every morning, not to empty his mind, but to face his emotions head-on, the grief, the anger, the betrayal, and let them pass through him without consuming him. He knew that to lash out, to scream, to break down in public, would be to give Clara power over him. It would validate her story that he was the problem. His calm was his armor. His silence was his strength. It was the hardest thing he had ever done. There were nights he stared at the ceiling, the full weight of his loneliness crashing down on him. But he never once picked up the phone to call her. He never once checked her social media. He cut the cord, cleanly and completely. About a year later, Liam was at a local coffee shop, sketching in a notebook, a new hobby he'd picked up. He was calmer, leaner, and there was a light in his eyes that had been absent for years. He heard a voice call his name. It was Clara. She looked different, tired, her expensive clothes a little worn. Mark, it turned out, was not the savior she thought he was. The thrill had faded, and reality had set in. "Liam," she said, her voice hesitant, "you look good." "I feel good," he replied with a small genuine smile. She fidgeted. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I was wrong. I see that now. You weren't cold. You were just strong." He looked at her, and for the first time in a long time he felt nothing but a quiet sense of peace. The anger was gone. The hurt had faded to a scar. "Thank you, Clara. I appreciate that. I hope you find what you're looking for." He closed his notebook, stood up, and walked out of the coffee shop, not looking back. They called him cold because they mistook his discipline for indifference. They mistook his self-control for a lack of love. But Liam knew the truth. He knew that true strength isn't about how loudly you can roar in the storm. It's about how quietly you can withstand the rain, rebuild your foundation, and learn to find the sun again on your own. And in the quiet morning light, he was finally free. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, take care.